once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum up on the top of the store. He lurks in the lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffed moof. And and on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. Look at this. Look how tall that thing is. It's pretty cool.
Wow. I know that.
You know that? Okay.
I watched the movie already. I watched the second one.
Okay.
Oh
Sounds
my
good.
gosh.
Well, on the yes. What did you say?
At Westside they have this big movie theater in Studio B, and I watched the movie Lorax.
Okay, so you remember this?
Me too.
On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. Look at that. Toss it right in.
It would be 20
You see it?
cents.
Right here.
Or 20
That's the pail. And then he pulls up the pail. He makes the most careful count to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grubbleless glove. Right there. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper mephone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slup, down slups the whisper mephone to your ear, and the Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through the snurgly hose, and then he sounds as if he had a smallish bees up his nose. Ooh, that doesn't sound very good. Now I tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away? It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the ponds still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came from this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored troughs of the truffula trees, mile after mile, in the fresh morning breeze. That sounds nice.
I know the flying thing.
You do?
Did my frog, would you rather be a bullfrog?
Oh, okay, cool. That's a good one. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and their truffula fruits. From up the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of a humming fish humming with splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all of my life I had been searching for the trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had a sweet smell of fresh buttery milk.
I know this one.
Cool. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd like to do. I unloaded my cart. Look at that, he's dropping everything out of the cart.
Oh yeah.
Right here. In no time at all, I had built a small shop, and then I chopped down the truffula tree with one chop. And with a great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft, and I knitted a need. That's the word.
The Lorax was in the tree.
He was hiding in the tree? Let me go see. Where's he?
No, on the other side.
Oh, the other side? Oh, okay. Ah, there he is. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard, because I don't know if I can. He was shortish, he was oldish, he was brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy.
Bossy.
Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And when I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs, he was very upset and he shouted and puffed, what's that thing that you've made out of my truffle of tuft? Lorax, look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. At a thneed, I find something that's all a pop-up or all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or even curtains or covers for bicycle seats. That sounds nice. The Lorax said, sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that full need. Let's see. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that moment, a chap came along. And he thought that the need that I knitted was great. He happily bought it for a 98, or $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. Don't say stupid anymore. You never tell what some people will buy.
You want some water? Okay, go get
I
some water.
repeat, cried the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I am busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed and crossed the room and at no time at all built a radio phone and I put in a quick call. I called my brothers, my uncles, and my aunts and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance. For the whole Unseler family, you might get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Niche. Turn left on Weekend, sharp on right, South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were working all knitting the needs, with just busy as bees to sound of the chopping of the truffle of trees. Look at that, needs. They're all working away with their little green hands. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle of trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. Look at that, it's nice.
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's bad.
Yeah, it's chopping off trees.
There's Lorax.
Yeah, you're right, it is good.
Air.
Yeah, look at him knocking.
It's upstairs.
Oh, yep. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped. I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbalus flutes, who played in the shade and their barbalaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees down to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go around. And my poor barbala boots are getting their crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. That doesn't sound nice. They love living here, but they can't. I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried as he sent them away. See, they're all sad. The Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow. Regardless of the crummies in the tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I must truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so the bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, and I biggered the loads. Of those needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. See, look at that big factory. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and whiffed. He sneezed and snuffled and snargled and sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a ferocious croak. Onceler, you're making such a smoggless smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No note can sing who has the smog in his throat. See, look at all that smog. That's not good.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I am sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may go fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog that you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his standard was up. Let me say a few words about the gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs it all on day and night without a stop, making the gluppity-glup, also the schloppity-schlup. And what do you know when you have this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old once-ler man, you. See, there it is. Look at all that dirty glup. Schlup. You're glumping the pond where the hummings fish hum. And no more can they hum, for the gills are all gummed.
Look, they're hopping out of the water.
Yeah, that's not good. So I'm sending them off. Off, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and woefully weary, in search of some water that is so smeary. Look at that water, it's not good.
I see Laura. One is like.
Yeah, right there?
Yeah, look, one is like.
He's sad, yeah.
Yeah, one is like.
Right
One
there.
is in the water. He's like.
Yeah. Yep, and then I got mad. I got terribly mad.
I see smoke out.
Yeah, I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you have to do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing this, just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack.
Again?
From the outside fields came a sickening smack of the axe of the tree, and then we heard the tree fall. Boom! That very last truffula tree, one of them all. Look at that, it looks like the last one. No more trees, no more needs, no work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and my aunts and everyone, they all waved goodbye. They jumped into their cars and drove under the smoke smothering stars. Just a minute, we're almost done. Now all of that was left neath the bad smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I.
On that back page, that was
It was. You're waving. Okay. The Lorax said nothing.
Jumping.
Yeah, he said nothing. He just gave me a glance. He looked at him. He just said very sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget that grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place and threw a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. Look at that, he's popping right out of the smog. Is the clouds up here? The dirty clouds? That's the smog.
He's going
right through it? Yeah, he's trying to find the better area. And all that Lorax left here was a mess. Was this small pile of rocks and one word. Unless? Whatever that meant? Well, I just couldn't guess. That was a long time ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried, and I'm worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the once-ler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So, Catch calls the once-ler. He lets something fall. It's his truffler seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffler seeds, and truffler trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it some water, and feed it some fresh air. Grow a forest, protect the axes that hack, and then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.
Wants it to come back.
Definitely. And that is the Lorax, which is a good story about take care of the environment around you and treat everyone well so they're all happy and safe. And then the Lorax will be back.
I know.
The end.
I know the
Thank you.
Yay!